The Money School proudly presents Story Time with Sammy Rabbit's All-Star Readers.
Today's All-Star Reader is Dr. Kate Mielitz from Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Welcome, Dr. Kate.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Kate, and today I am going to read to you Those Shoes by Mary Beth Boltz and illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. I love shoes, and you can see here that I brought some of my favorites to share with you after the story. I'm an assistant professor in family financial planning at Oklahoma State University, and I am so glad you are here to join me for this story today. We start in the fall. Look at that. It looks like fall with no leaves on the tree and people bundled up. Buy these shoes. I have dreams about those shoes. Black high tops, 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Have you ever wanted something and your adult said, we can't do it, we can't have that? That's a stinky situation to be in sometimes, isn't it? Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. Look at that. We got 4 people out of 5. A lot of people have those shoes, don't they? Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size, Velcro, like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon that I don't think any kid ever watched. How do you think he feels about those shoes? I'm thinking not so hot, huh? When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs. And so do Terrence, Brandon T, and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes, and my grip is so tight on my pencil that I might bust. On Saturday, Grandma says, let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I got a little bit of money set aside. Might be enough. You never know. At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. Maybe they wrote it down wrong, I say. Grandma shakes her head. You think Grandma's disappointed too? Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. What do you think he sees? I see a shirt and a hat and some high heels, stuffed animals, some bowls, a bowling ball. I wonder what he sees that catches his attention. Black shoes with 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape. $2.50 for those shoes. My heart is pounding as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. How exciting, Grandma says. What size are they? I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know, but I think they fit. If you have to curl your toes to get your heel in, do you think they fit? Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of the shoe. Oh, Jeremy, she says, I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit. I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. They're okay, I say, holding my breath and praying that my toes will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. Those shoes must have been really important for him to squeeze his feet into them. Have you ever worn shoes that are too small? That's not a lot of fun. At home a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say. Grandma gives me a hug. I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfrey's to school instead. One day, during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio was there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think, I'm not going to do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it, I say. Do what? Says Antonio, breathing hard. What do you think he doesn't want to do? Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I am awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there is snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall. It's then that I remember what I have in my backpack. New boots. New black boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race! And who's winning that race? That's right, Jeremy is. And that is the end of the story. So I wanted to show you some of my favorite shoes. We'll start with my high heel. I used to wear these a lot, and they were lots of fun because they make lots of noise when I walk, so I really enjoy those. My boots, which go really well with jeans, and I just love a good pair of boots. And then shoes. You know, in the story, there are shoes that Jeremy can't afford. Grandma doesn't have enough money. Well, I am in need, or I was in need, of new tennis shoes. And they are very expensive because I have me, I have my husband, I have 2 children, and everybody's got to have shoes, right? Well, my children need their shoes before I need shoes. And we were walking around last week and we found a half off sale. And not only were the shoes half off, they were exactly what I was looking for. So I looked at the budget, I looked at my account, and I was able to buy 2 pairs of new running shoes. And I love the colors. So the big idea in this story that I want you to remember is that sometimes we're going to want things that we can't afford, and that's okay. A secondary big idea I want you to keep in mind is I want you to think about whether Jeremy should have bought the shoes at $250, even though it was a small amount of money. But you know what? When he did, he gave them away. And how do you think that made him feel? So giving when we don't need something, even if we've just recently purchased it, if it doesn't fit, that can be an okay thing to do. This is Dr. Kate, and I am wishing you a Sammy-rific day.
Until our next Sammy Rabbit All-Star Reading Experience, this is Sam the Money Man, wishing you a Sammy-rific day.